Election 2020. All eyes are on Arizona today. Who will win the battleground state? We'll take you to the polls as voters make their voices heard.
Plus, from Flagstaff to Phoenix to Tucson, our crews are spread out and standing by to show you how the voting process is playing out so far.
And later this half hour, the Native American vote. We'll break down how the many struggles they faced throughout history could influence how they cast their ballots today.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Megan Marples.
And I'm Spencer Hardenberg. Thank you for joining us. After months of primaries and campaigning, and with the backdrop of a global pandemic, the first results of the 2020 presidential election are now just hours away. We have the latest on this historic election day. President Trump spent the final hours of his re-election bid making 2 stops in Michigan, the finale of a frantic battleground sprint. Michigan is part of the Democratic blue wall the president breached in 2016.
Very much Grand Rapids, they're waging war on our police, you know that. Your police we have a lot of police here tonight, I recognize it.
Polls indicate the president will have a tougher time holding off former Vice President Joe Biden in several Rust Belt states. The Biden campaign were trying to swing Pennsylvania blue with stops yesterday, hoping to overcome Trump's strong base in rural areas.
Everybody knows who Donald Trump is. Let's show them who we are.
Meanwhile, Democrats are hoping to flip formerly reliable Republican strongholds like Georgia, Texas, and Arizona away from Trump's column tonight.
Cronkite News reporters traveled all around the state today talking to voters. We asked about their experience at the polls, as well as why they felt it was important to make their voice heard. Tonight, we start with Maricopa County, where Taylor Tasley-Oatley joins us with the wrap-up. Taylor?
Maricopa County headed to the polls early this morning to make sure their voices are heard in the election. The polls opened before the sun was up, and people were lined up ready to cast their ballot. This is a look at the line at Mesa Community College at Red Mountain. It is stretched down the street in the dark. Despite voting in every election he could, 76-year-old garage door worker David Ostler never has seen a line this long. He says he was honored to see the hundreds in line to make their voices heard in such a critical time.
I see the values of America, what it stands for, and sometimes they're being lost, and we have to stand up for what we feel is the rights of America, and the rights of freedom, and the rights of choice, and the rights of honor, and the rights of respect.
Ostler wasn't at all worried about voting in person despite the increase in COVID-19 cases across the country. Leslie Serrano was a little concerned. She brought 2 masks to the Glendale Community College polling location for extra protection. She says it was important for her to vote in person.
I used to be a Democrat, no more. I need to know our country is going to stay the United States of America.
At ASU's Tempe campus, some people were in line when the poll opened, but were able to quickly move through. Independent voter Derek Moon recently moved to Arizona and says he doesn't vote along party lines.
It was just kind of a gut feeling where it was trying to go with who I thought would be the best.
Kimmy Garado from Chandler also voted at ASU. She explains why she was determined to vote in this election.
I think this time is just important because I know it's so polarized, and I definitely want to see some changes happen.
In Scottsdale, the lines wrapped through the Old Town streets. Allison Deneve says she wanted to vote in person because she was concerned about the safety of mail-in ballots and likes to see everyone exercising their right to vote.
My husband did actually do the mail-in and he dropped it off. And the lines are really long, so it's probably worth it to do the mail-in, but I really like this aspect personally.
Throughout the day, most polling places throughout the county did not have lines. In the broadcast center, Taylor Tasley-Oatley, Cronkite News.
Millions of mail-in ballots are in the process of being counted here in Maricopa County. Faith Abercrombie joins us from the county's tabulation center with a look at how the process is going. Faith?
Right now, I'm inside the Maricopa County Election Department, where workers and tabulation machines are counting and reviewing votes. Ballots from polling sites are being tabulated there, then transported here in these boxes right behind me. The adjudication workers are reviewing any smudges or eligible write-ins or overvoting. Right now, we're waiting until about 8 p.m. hits, where those early ballot results will start to flow in. So far, the county has reported about 1.7 million verified signatures. The election department is sending voters emails and giving them phone calls to verify those unmatched signatures. In Phoenix, Faith Abercrombie, Cronkite News.
Thank you, Faith. And now we turn to Arizona's second most populated city, Tucson. We've got crews in Pima County to see how the election process is working there. And we start with Caroline Lynch, who checked in with voters in the Old Pueblo.
Yes, I have been in Tucson all morning, going to different polling places. Right now we are currently at the Pascayaki Wellness Center right down in South Tucson. And as you can see here, it's pretty lively. There's been voters going back and forth all throughout the day, and there's even a live band set up just to get voters excited for election day.
The Pascayaki tribe in South Tucson has had a hard time getting their vote counted.
I know that the tribe went to court to try to establish our early voting sites, which was taken away.
The tribe only had two options: mail your vote in or come here today to vote. Although it has been difficult, the people here seem excited to get their vote in and see hope for their future.
Just as being a minority and being out in town and being scared. Worried for my kids, they look like a stereotype Native American, dark hair, dark skin, and being worried that if they're out on the street, they're going to get attacked just because of our skin color. So I think that's something that I've seen and something that needs to be changed.
However, some of the polls near downtown Tucson were almost empty and there were no lines at all.
Straightforward. I know where the voting station is, so I came here with my location and gave them my ID, and like I said, it's maybe about 5 minutes at most.
Although this may be mainly because of COVID-19, polling marshals say they are doing everything they can to make voters safe, which includes letting people even vote in their car. Those we talked to emphasized how important it is to be voting in the election this year.
I think the election this year is really important to all American citizens, anyone who wants a voice, either if you're a Democrat or Republican. It's just the voice of the people have to be heard.
Although most polling places have been pretty slow throughout the day, polling marshals do expect their areas to get busier as time goes on election day. In Tucson, Caroline Lynch, Cronkite News.
Pima County is also counting those mail-in ballots. Alex Gall joined us now to explain how things are working there. Alex?
Right behind me is the Pima County Elections Department headquarters, and right now behind me, it's going pretty slow at the moment. That's because Pima County is actually way ahead of the game in terms of counting their mail-in and absentee ballots. The county recorder here in the county tells us that already 400,000 ballots have been counted as of this morning.
One good caveat about the state of Arizona, we've been doing early voting by mail for over 2 decades. It's not something new to us. It's not something new to the citizens of the state. So they're comfortable with the means. But we as recorders are also comfortable with the operation because we have the rules in place, we have the technology, we're ready.
The county expects to start tabulating their in-person Election Day ballots later on this evening once polls close here in Pima County. We're in Tucson. Alex Gall, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Alex. We also traveled north to Flagstaff, where the low this morning was in the 30s, and there was even a slight drizzle, but that didn't deter voters. The Flagstaff Mall polling location opened to people already waiting in line. However, by 10 a.m., the rush had passed and voters were quickly able to cast their ballots.
I kind of expected long lines and a big wait, but it went so smooth. I was in and out of there in 15 minutes.
Eric Shriver had to register to vote in his hometown due to the pandemic, and he chose to vote in person today because he enjoys the excitement of on-site participation.
And now, as we know, 4 years ago, it was predicted to be a landslide for Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. And of course, that was not the case. Now, Tyler Mannion looks at what changes from 4 years ago we might see and how they may affect this election. Go ahead, Tyler.
Hey guys, I'm over here at the 2016 map from the election. You're going to see a lot of different things. First, I want to point out you see a lot of red. Here's the thing though, Donald Trump only won 13 of the 100 most populated counties in America, and it still didn't matter. He still got the 306 electoral college votes. We're looking for 270. That's the magic number. Let me show you guys what the most important thing that happened is 2016. This is the most important thing that happened. The blue wall, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. You notice it's not blue, it's actually red. President Donald Trump split all of that, flipped it to red by just under 1% in all of those. Pennsylvania, by 44,000 votes. Michigan by 0.2%. This was incredibly close back in 2016, and he's going to be trying to hold on to that this year. Let me show you what happens if that doesn't happen. If Joe Biden flips it back blue. Wisconsin, as we said, goes blue. We're looking for 270. Pennsylvania, and all three of those go blue. That in and of itself puts Joe Biden at 278, puts him in the White House instead of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, his path back to the White House to stay there is very slim. It's narrow. The margin for error is very small. Pennsylvania is going to be incredibly important. Then there's all these states, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arizona. These are all incredibly important. He has to defend all of these just like he did in 2016 to stay in the White House for the next 4 years. Joe Biden, this is the easiest path. But if he gets any of those other ones, you could see him in the White House as well. Guys?
Great stuff, Tyler. Now you can count on Arizona PBS for your election night coverage. PBS NewsHour national coverage starts at 6 p.m. on PBS 8.1. After that, stay tuned for Arizona Horizon's local election coverage from 10 to 11 on 8.3. And then you can watch your Cronkite News election coverage from 7 to 8. And then Indian Country Today will provide coverage until 10 p.m.
Coming up next on Cronkite News, could a COVID storm be heading for Arizona? And if so, what could that mean for you?
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News.
Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Hear them talking.
Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
COVID-19 cases continue to rise. As of this morning, there have been more than 249,000 coronavirus cases and more than 6,000 deaths in the state of Arizona. The average number of new daily cases has surpassed 1,300. Last time the daily cases reached this high was in mid-July to early August. Last week, Governor Doug Ducey thanked Arizonans for weathering the storm so far, but warned a spike has not yet hit our state, but it is coming. At the same event, Department of Health Services Director Kara Christ said the agency is on high alert. She and Doug Ducey both urged people to continue wearing masks, physically distancing, and taking other measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Nationally, more than 61,000 children tested positive during the week that ended October 29th, according to a report from the American Academy of Pediatrics. It says that was the biggest increase in children's cases since the start of the pandemic. Some medical experts warn if this upward trend doesn't reverse soon, mandatory lockdowns may become necessary.
The Made with Love Market in Gilbert, Arizona is now open for business. The market is home to handmade goods by small business owners in the Maricopa County area. Now, the local market is helping small businesses recover from the pandemic.
I can't believe you're here.
Supporting small businesses has been a general theme during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the Made with Love Market in Gilbert is doing just that.
Bring it on. Yeah, bring it on.
Co-founder of the market, Mary Beth Solvit, explains why she and her business partner decided to close earlier this year. She also shares her passion for opening the market back up.
At the time, in February, we just felt like it was the right thing to do with not knowing what this was, not knowing, the effects on children, on the community as a whole. And so we made a very early decision to postpone our event. This space at Santan Village, we felt best about. There is so much room, and we really felt like we could safely host this event and give our vendors a chance to showcase their products and sell and give the community a space that is fun and free and enjoyable to come out to.
With vendors collectively making anywhere between $35,000 and $55,000 each event, many small businesses like Cozy Knit Designs turned into an online business during the closure. Owner Amanda Archinick has more about her company.
I
I was able to offer people kits for online so they can learn online while they're at home during quarantine. So that was super nice. That kept me afloat. But it did, I don't want to say ruin, but it did take a lot of opportunities away during the pandemic, but I am still afloat.
Although the pandemic brought a lot of challenges to small business owners, the Made with Love Market continued to promote its vendors on their social media platforms. Owner of Modern Roots Kids Company, Jill Mancuso, shares how she's staying optimistic for the remainder of the year.
Now that the season's ramping up again, I think vendors and customers are both eager to kind of get back into the swing of things and show that small shop support. The pandemic, one good thing that came from it is it gave people more of an appreciation for small business and wanting to support local and help their community, which is what this market does.
The Made with Love Market plans on remaining open for the rest of the 2020 calendar year and is in the works of planning a Black Friday event for people to continue to shop local as well as staying safe during this holiday season. The Made with Love Market is open every Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon and is located at Santan Village. For more information on the market and the vendors and how you can support, check out their Instagram and Facebook. In the studio, Milan Andrade, Cronkite News.
Finally tonight, scientists say a huge asteroid floating around our solar system could be worth more than the collective economies of our entire planet. That's right, I know what you're thinking. Really? It's a rock. But actually, scientists think asteroid 16 Psyche is a collection of mostly metals, mostly iron and nickel, and the sheer size of it, about the size of Massachusetts, that's led them to hypothesize it is worth, wait for it, $10 quintillion. Yes, that is a real number. And scientists think that Psyche could have been the core of what was once a planet, and they plan to set up an unmanned probe to study its composition before anyone on Earth gets any money-making ideas. Now that is it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.